There's a lot of places that won't play us because we're Christian. And that's when God reached out to me.
I pray that I don't get hit by a bus or something, and then my family have to kind of go through my stuff. I'll tell you all that we know. I've got Jesus in my life, and this is what it means to me.
So I kind of lost my faith, and it was for quite a few years.
Hey, what's going on? Welcome in. My name is Chris Dolby, and I host the UCB1 Rock Show. Today I'm going to bring you the full interview that I conducted recently with Steve Scott, guitarist, lyricist, and founding member of the Word66. The Word66 are an up-and-coming rock band from Las Vegas, Nevada, and the name comes from the Bible, or the Word, and the 66 books that make it up. Christian scripture and messages infuse every element of their songwriting, and with a story that encompasses God's salvation and grace coming into Steve's life and making massive changes, I was really keen to have a conversation with him. So I started as usual by asking for a little bit of a history tour of the band.
So at the end of 2018, I had a revelation, I guess you could call it. I believe God reached out to me at that point in time and explained my purpose for being here on earth, and basically told me that I needed to put my talents into writing some Christian music. So at that point in time, I started writing a whole bunch of different tracks and started to put the band together. I actually found my drummer through a thing called Craigslist. Do you know anything about that?
Yeah, I've heard of Craigslist. That's like your, it's like local personal adverts in America. Is that right?
Yeah, they're all over the country, but the Vegas part, I put an ad out there. And when you're dealing with places like that, you have a lot of meatheads that will contact you and waste your time. And you try to qualify them as best as possible before you actually do any kind of meetings or you actually get together and jam. And a lot of times it still doesn't work because for some reason, everybody thinks they're a rock star,
Crazy. Yeah, I mean,
and you get together with these people and sometimes they just really suck. And it's just like, wow, man.
Yeah, I got together my band when I was in my 30s, and it took me, it was at least 5 years, because, you just, people don't turn up, or they do turn up, they don't have any equipment, or they're not as good as they said they was, or and musicians, I mean, I'm a musician, obviously you're a musician, so I feel like it's okay to say this, but musicians, they're kind of flaky.
Yes, great word. I would use that same word.
Yeah. So I feel your pain. I totally feel your pain. Did it become any harder trying to find good, qualified musicians who like your sound and are Christian? I mean, how did the faith come into it?
Yeah, so I put that ad out, and this guy, Dave Murray, who was the original drummer, who's no longer in the band, we got together and we hit it off really well. And then we got together and we started jamming, and that worked out well. Then we found Brian, our vocalist, and he also plays bass. So we were able to function as a trio at that point in time. And then we played for a little bit, not steadily, but on and off for a little bit. And then COVID hit, and we were getting ready to go into the studio at that point in time. So we had to delay things, and then we got in the studio, and then we recorded our first EP, On the Way to the Promised Land. On the way to the promised land. Very happy to say, and probably with God's help, it really took off. Just the first track, everybody loved it. And we're what's considered a crossover band.
Okay.
So we get a lot of radio play on the Christian stations and the non-Christian stations as well. Hard rock stations and the indie stations really love us. We get a ton of radio play, and we're always charting, happy to say all over the world, most of our stuff. We have 2 songs that are charting all over the world at the moment, including our new track, which is called "Faith Is the Key."
I think I saw somewhere that that's like #1 in, is that #1 in Canada at the moment? Is that right?
At the moment, yeah. Actually, we just dropped down to #2, but
Oh, oh, that's a bit of a
but yeah,
kick in the pants, isn't it?
well, hey, 2 is fantastic, man. So yeah, so we did get #1 in Canada, and we are charting, like I said, all over the world in a lot of different places. So if
Oh,
anybody's
that must be
listening, any
so.
radio stations, thank you so much for your support.
Oh, so good. It must be so like awesome to be like not just having your music out there, but it because I've listened to like a lot of your music over the last week or so, just like during the day on Spotify and just kind of soaking it in, just trying to understand what I'm dealing with here. And like it is blatantly Christian. It is overtly 100%. I think obviously On the Way to the Promised Land is inspired by Exodus, isn't it? The whole story
Yes,
of yeah. I mean, do you
absolutely.
do you find that like non-Christian audiences are like receptive to that? Is there any pushback or anything like that?
There's a lot of places that won't play us because we're Christian. But then again,
Really?
there's also, I think a lot of times the people that are non-Christian that listen to us, maybe they don't really know that we're a Christian band a lot of times, because a lot of people don't listen to lyrics. They
True.
just
Yeah.
listen to music.
Yeah.
So if you just listen to music, we rock like everybody else. So you wouldn't know. And then there's a lot of people that a lot of places that have open minds, and they don't care if you're a Christian band or not, just that you rock.
Yeah, I mean, I think the message, yes, whilst it's overtly Christian, it's not in that kind of judgmental way that some people would necessarily be turned off by. Do you know what I mean? It's just kind of like, hey, I've had I've got Jesus in my life, and this is what it means to me. This is how like it works for me. And it's like I think that's often sometimes maybe some of the most powerful evangelism is just walking the walk. Do you know what I mean? And I think that's kind of what your music is doing, isn't it, really?
Yeah, Chris, that's a great analogy. Yes, very much so. Um, we're not in real life, like me, for instance, like if we met and we hung out together and stuff, I mean, I wouldn't be preaching God to you, to be honest with you. I wouldn't be talking about God. I wouldn't be talking about Christ unless you want me to. If you want to bring up that subject and you want to get into it, fantastic. But otherwise, I really let the music do the talking for me because I believe there's a lot of people that it'd be a major turnoff, and um, I don't want people to run when they see us.
Uh,
Y-
yeah, I
You know what I
totally,
mean?
totally get that. I mean, I was like a lot later on into the faith than most. I was in my mid 30s when and I could 100% confirm that if you maybe had come up to me in my 20s and say, "Hey, I want to introduce you to my friend Jesus," I would have been like, "Hey, there's the door." I think there's ways and means, isn't there? I think there's lots. I mean, sometimes you do need like a big slap upside of the head and a kick in the pants to kind of shake people loose, and sometimes you just need there's other ways of delivering messages, isn't there? And I think that's a really positive way of doing it, really, the way that you guys are. I mean, I personally, I'm not very good face to face with people. I would be like, I wouldn't know what to say. So putting it
Right.
in lyrics is a good way to do it.
Yeah, and like you said, we kind of do it a little bit in a subtle-ish way. So that's why a lot of people or a lot of stations and magazines and stuff will dig what we do.
Mm,
Yeah, I mean, it's just we're hoping that when we get the message out to the non-Christian stations, that there's people out there that may need to hear the message that we're trying to give out, and it could help their lives. It could change their lives. Music is really powerful, as you know, and we're kind of hoping too that some people will hear the music and go, "Oh, okay," and then listen to the lyrics and go, "That's interesting." And I always like to say that there may be people listening that are in a time of their life where things are just not working. You know, everything just sucks and they've tried everything. And then maybe this could be like a baby step for people to hear and go like, oh, okay, well, I'd like to know a little bit more about this. And then before you know it, I always say baby steps, it's like, okay, so you listen to a track and you like it. And then you go, okay, well, this is pretty cool. I don't know anything about Christian rock, but let me look up some other Christian rock artists. And then all of a sudden they're like, oh yeah, these guys are really cool too. And then they add them to their playlist. And then they start thinking, well, hey, what about there's a church that's not too far away? Maybe I should go check that out because my life really isn't working out. And, again, baby steps, you never know.
Absolutely. You don't know where those seeds have been planted and how they're going to be watered and where they're going to grow. It's,
Yes.
for me, one of the most awesome things that I found with doing the radio show is like, just from time. I mean, who really writes into a radio station? Like nobody. You seldom ever do it. So you don't get a lot of emails. But when you do get emails come through, it's just like, hey, I've been listening to your show for like 18 months now. And like, I really love it. I just want to tell you that, like, hey, that you played this song and it just really spoke to me. And I just really needed to hear that at this point. And you're just like, wow, bro. That's incredible. You don't know how God is going to use these little things. It's just like with that scripture where you're throwing bread upon the water, you just don't know where it's going to go. You don't know what God's going to do with it. And I just love that. I think that's awesome.
Hey, this interview was recorded for the UCB1 Rock Show, the only place on national radio in the UK celebrating Christian hard rock and heavy metal. If you'd like to check out this weekly rock show, all the details on how you can do that, even if you're located outside of the UK, are to be found in the description and the first pinned comment. Next, I wanted to ask Steve to open up a little bit more about how he kind of lost his love for playing music and started straying away from the faith, and how God reached into that situation and pulled him back.
This is kind of like chapter 2 for me, actually. So once upon a time, quite a few years ago, I met this dude that I was working with, and he was really into Christian music and going to church, and I really didn't know anything about it. And as I aforementioned, for other people, I said that are listening and the life's not working out and baby steps, that kind of happened to me, because I was my life just really was messed up, and I just didn't know what to do. And this guy, he the way he really preached to me is that he introduced me to some bands, some Christian rock bands, because he knew I was a musician. And I listened to some of the stuff, and he was like, just have an open mind. And it really rocked. It really rocked me. And I was like, wow, this is really cool stuff. And then I started to go to church with him. So then I thought at that point in time that maybe I could write some Christian stuff and see what happens.
Okay.
So I did write some stuff and did go into a studio and record some stuff, and sent it out to like record labels and management, and we got fantastic response. But at that point in time, everybody told us that we don't know what to do with you. You're kind of on this end, but yet you're kind of on this end. And especially at that point in time, it was really all about Christian contemporary music.
Yeah,
and we really didn't fit the mold.
Too Christian for the rock genre, too rock for the Christian. So I fall in between the stools.
Yeah, and at that time too, I was also singing. I was the lead vocalist at the time, and my voice is okay. I kind of consider myself like a B singer.
Okay.
Like Brian, who's in the band, he's an A singer. I'm a B singer. So B singers are, I guess, bands that really aren't going to go that far. So. Because if you listen to regular radio, every band that you hear has a really good vocalist.
Yeah.
Right? If you turn on your radio station, there's nobody that you listen to and go, oh, that guy's voice kind of sucks. It's like everybody is professional and has a pleasant voice.
And that's not you. No?
Right? So it's like, and if your voice is kind of like borderline, you don't fit into that mold by any means. So
I could totally understand that one. Whenever I find a new artist, like the amount of times I've been like, oh wow, this rocks. Oh yeah, this rocks. Oh yeah. And then they start singing. I'm like, oh, skip. Yeah, just being honest.
there are some of these independent radio stations that we listen to that we have been blessed to chart on. Every once in a while, they'll throw on someone, and I'm like, ooh, I can't listen to that. It's like the voice is just, it's not there. It's kind of, again, like a B singer. You're just not there yet. So, and it surprises me that they get any radio play. Kind of thing. And I go, I wonder how they got on. But so my voice was okay, but it was different. So. So it really wasn't happening that much. So like I said, we got some major great responses, but nothing really happened. And I kind of eventually, a little bit down the road, I kind of thought that, well, I don't know about this Christian thing. I don't know if I want to continue with this whole church thing. And it just, I tried. I ran out my credit cards. I put myself in credit card debt to go into this studio. And it wound up, by the time I paid it off, it was really expensive. So I kind of lost my faith, and it was for quite a few years. And then about 5 years ago, I got divorced.
Okay.
And that's when God reached out to me, I believe, and said, okay, let's do this again. Let's make this happen. Let's try it. So started writing some new stuff. And this time, with On the Way to the Promised Land, that song just took off immediately with all different stations, and that was the start of the Word66.
Nice. So do you write the lyrics or the music, or is it a band effort? How does the whole what's your process?
I pretty much write all the music and the lyrics. So basically, I kind of, when we get together, I just say like, hey guys, I got this track, and let's kind of work on it. And I kind of hear everything in my head. I kind of know how the bass goes and how the drums go, and I'll tell them, okay guys, this is what I'm thinking, and then let the guys kind of work it from there.
Oh wow. Okay, cool. That's actually, I mean, I always love asking about that because writing music myself, it's like my band is like very much a bit of a melting pot, right? And like this guy will have this idea of that, and we'll throw it all together, and we chuck all this stuff together. And it's great on the one hand because we get like a really weird sound, but it's like not great because it's slow. It's like really slow. So I mean, I guess if you're kind of doing it, writing the lyrics yourself and all that, that's really impressive. It's usually you find one person who can do like their bit, but not the rest. So,
Well, thank you. Yeah, I kind of do it at the same time. A lot of times I'll just be like jamming myself in my room, and then all of a sudden, just for some reason, you know how it goes. All of a sudden, you just do something. You hit a riff, and you go, "Oh wow, that was really cool," So, and then I'll grab the pen and paper, and I'll just start writing some lyrics and stuff. So that's usually how it happens. But sometimes I'm not in writing mode. So your phone is your best friend.
Oh, I do that too. I've got on my notes app on my phone. I've got like about 1,000 like lines that's just like,
Yes.
and then if I can think of something to rhyme with this word, then I'll be able to write that into a lyric. That's
Yes.
the
Yeah. I've probably got like 10 albums on my phone, and even some stuff, like sometimes I'm not by my guitar and I go, oh wow, that's cool. And I'll just go like do 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 do, and then later on I'll turn it into a song.
I'll tell you what, one day, right? I pray that I don't get like, hit by a bus or something, and then my family have to kind of go through my stuff, and then they find my phone, because it will literally be that on my phone. There's like loads of half lyrics and me going do into the voice note app.
Yeah. The invention of the phone, man, and it's just amazing. What would we do without it?
I don't know. Brilliant.
Hey, before we get back into the interview and Steve takes us through some of the lyrics on one of his more unusual songs, if you're having a good time here today, why don't you just hit that like button and leave me a comment? And if you want to help somebody else experience the power of God's Word through alternative Christian music, why don't you share this video with a friend or drop it into your favourite social media group of choice. Next up, I asked Steve to take me through the story of the song How Will I Know in a catalogue of really up-tempo stomping rock numbers. This stripped down acoustic ballad really stands out, and I wanted to know, was this a story chronicling the events of his divorce?
Okay, so I thought it'd be nice for you to kind of maybe go through, like, because obviously you're writing the lyrics, and you've touched on how you obviously said like God kind of brought you to that place of like, right now we're going to work on you, we're going to do this. And I mean, I recognize that. I find that sometimes, you know, sometimes God has to like completely break you in two to kind of get like, you know, maybe pride issues out of the way or whatever, and just stop relying on yourself. I'm going to show you how to do so completely. And that reminds me of one of your songs. Oh, I can't remember the name of it, but it's like, how will I know if this lady is the one for me? Well,
Yes.
this sounds like there's a real story behind there. Was that written about the divorce? Was it, or how
No, it wasn't written about the divorce. Actually, I have a song that's written about the divorce. It's called "How Can This Feeling Be Wrong?" And I'll probably, maybe when we go back in the studio, that'll be one of the tracks, because it basically says that I had this calling, you know, that just popped up, and, you know, how can this feeling be wrong? So that's kind of cool. So we wrote this ballad. I wrote this ballad called "How Will I Know?" And actually, Chris, it's an old song. I've written it actually quite a few years ago, and when we were going back in the studio, I was, you know, telling the guys, I said, you know, maybe we should record a ballad. And I played it for the guys, and like, wow, that's just a great song. So yeah, I mean, again, there was a point in my life where I was dating this other gal for quite a few years, and then we broke it off, and I was going out and you know hoping to meet somebody, you know, somebody special, and that's why it says like another weekend night, another trip to town. So it's kind of like it's the weekend night. Trip to town. Let's see what where we can go, who we can meet.
Another weekend night, another trip to town. Are we feeling brave tonight? Among so many lost souls.
And I would be going out, and I remember one day I was like, okay, this is gonna be a great night. I feel it. You know, I'm gonna meet that girl, that special one. And I went out, and nothing happened. And I came home, and I just felt kind of bummed.
Yeah.
Because I was single then, now for a little bit at that point in time, and I picked up my guitar, my acoustic, and I wrote that track. And it's about a single guy wondering when God is going to send them that special person.
I think that's great. It was quite a moving track, really. But it was a surprising track as well, man. Because I was
Yes.
I would sit there listening to it, and everything's just like got this thick, fat guitar stomp, you know, all the way through. It's just like thick bounce along guitars, and then ballad, and then more thick, fat guitar. I thought that was brilliant. It was such a good choice, and I really, really enjoyed it. It was such a cool track.
Thanks, man. I had this thing too where I was thinking like, you know, I think a cello would sound really cool on this track. So we found this cellist, this guy Merton. We brought him in to do that part. So we didn't think that the band would play on that. You know, we didn't think we needed any kind of, even if it was just like congas or bongos or something in the background. We just thought like, hey, let's just strip it down, make it simple. I'll play some acoustic guitar, and we'll bring in a cellist, and Brian will sing, and that's it. I did have an idea that I was going to actually make that a duet.
Okay.
And I found this female vocalist that I know that it's really good. And she's we met each other through some music chat rooms that we she charts as well, and we talked, and then I said, hey, would you be interested in doing this track? And this is something that no one knows. You're the first one I'm even ever telling this to.
It's an exclusive. Loving it.
Exclusive. Yes. So actually, I sent her the tracks, and she actually recorded the tracks. It would be Brian singing one verse, and then she would sing the other verse, and they would switch off. Or there was another one where she would just sing like a little bit of answer parts, where he would say, how will I know? And she would say something and whatever, and then just sing on the choruses. And I had brought it to my producer, and he didn't dig it at all. So he was like, nah. He says, man, just leave, Brian, just leave it there. It's more of like a performance piece. Let him just do his thing and don't do the duet.
Well, I think I on the one hand, I'd love to have heard what that sounded like, but on the other hand, I think your producer probably made the right choice, because the theme of the song is really just a guy, isn't it? Just pouring his heart out, and just like, this isn't working. It really makes me it makes me laugh with the way that the dating scene has gone since like I was doing that. I mean, I've been married for 17 years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
It's different. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's just like, apparently there's apps, and, you have like 1/1000th of a second to swipe left or right or something, and it's just like, ah. But I mean, back in my day, it was like going to bars and trying to meet people and whatever. And like, I don't know. I think that it sounds really fuddy-duddy-ish or whatever, but I think that the dating scene has just gone really, really mad, and we need to just kind of get back to just actually getting to know people, meeting them, and and I think the way that the Christians do it, in church, meeting good, godly women, and all of that stuff. I think they probably was onto something, wasn't they?
I wish it was that easy, man. I mean, I go to church, and I'm on the side of my head, I'm thinking like, hey, maybe I could, meet somebody here. I'm there to worship, of course.
Yeah.
And if I actually meet somebody, that'd be fantastic. But I just never meet anybody. And when there's, every once in a while, they'll have single events for the church people. And I mean, I don't seem to find that person there either. So that would be the ultimate for me, is to find, a nice church girl,
Yeah. But I think at the end of the day, like your song says, it's just having that faith that with the one that God sends. And a wise man once did say, faith is the key.
And we're calling that our anthem song, actually, because if you really get down to it, that is a very profound statement. Faith is the key. I mean, you can apply that to everything and anything, really.
And that's your latest single, isn't it? That's the one that just came out. That is fantastic. Love it.
Thank you.
Okay, cool. Right, so we've not got a massive amount of time left. So what I wanted to do, I want you to be able to just give a big shout out to like any socials, or how do people find you if they want to know more about the music? How do they get hold of you?
All of the socials, you can find us on Twitter and Facebook and Instagram. Although Facebook currently has suspended my account.
How very dare they?
Right?
What did you do?
For no reason. So it's very possible.
Steve,
I'm serious. I mean, what am I doing that's wrong? I mean, we're a Christian band. I'm out there. I'm trying to find fans. I'm trying to hook up and make friends and stuff in there. And we're posting stuff. Like, of course, this will be posted on all my socials. Let people know, hey, this is a new interview. That's the kind of stuff that I do. Radio stations that are playing us, I post it and say, hey, thank you for playing our music or featuring our music. I mean, that is all that I do. So it got to a point where I couldn't even, they were restricting me from even liking a post.
Did they give any explanation as to why?
I think I clicked on a couple things, and I think they were saying something about fake accounts.
Oh.
Fake account? I've had this account for like 5 years, 6 years, and how's it a fake account? Somebody recently told me that maybe somebody hijacked my account, and they're doing maybe some things that they're not supposed to do, and they've associated with me. So we'll see. I'm appealing. I'm appealing it right now.
Okay.
And I've started a new page.
Okay. So what is the socials? How do we find you?
So the word66.com is our website, and you can find us on the socials if you look up the word 66, or in some places it's the word SIXTY, because the word 66 was not available in some of these other places. So that's where you can find us social wise. Like I said, I started a new Facebook page, so you probably still could find us under the word 66. The other thing that really sucks about the whole Facebook thing is that it's so hard to get followers on Facebook. And now I'm starting from scratch again. And so like I have like 60 followers now or something like that. So losing all those, that really sucks.
That's not
and of course, we're on all the other platforms if you're interested in checking out our music. We're on Spotify and Apple and Deezer and Pandora and YouTube and all those other places as well.
Okay, that's awesome. Great.
And I would like to say I would appreciate it if anybody's listening. Please follow, please subscribe, please like, please comment, because it's really hard to get anybody to do that. It seems
it's weird, isn't it? It's like this. What you need as a musician is just literally somebody who's actually had a good time, just to register that. Just there you go. It doesn't cost you anything. Just thumbs up, brilliant. And then like you have these like algorithms that run our lives, don't we? That just kind of go, yes, I will share that with somebody else. It's just like, yeah, just like and comment. It doesn't take a second.
It takes a half a second to do that, and especially if they like your music. I mean, it's like just hit the follow button, hit the like button, and that would be appreciated.
I mean, it's hard to get people to go to shows, it's hard to get people to do anything, and you've got to get to a level of professionalism unheard of in history. The quality, your music has got to be grade A professional, recorded flawlessly. It's got to be original, it's got to be amazing, and you've got to repeatedly do it regularly and get it out there. And then really all to get people the support that people can give, because they can't necessarily go and buy everything, but just to hit the like button and just write a little comment. It costs nothing, and it honestly makes a massive difference, doesn't it?
It is so simple. I don't want to be that person, especially being a Christian and trying to live my life in a certain
vanity metrics.
way.
I don't want to keep looking at them.
Yeah, I don't want fake followers. No. I don't want to pay for. I mean, I could buy 100,000 follows on there, and you could look at my profile and go, oh wow, he's got 150,000 followers on there. Wow, that's cool, but they're all fake, and I don't want to do that. So all of the followers that we do have on all the socials, those are all real people.
Yeah, excellent.
If you want to find out more about Steve and his band, the Word66, go check out the description to this video where I've listed all of his socials. If you've got this far, thank you very much for your time tonight. Why don't you consider subscribing, because next time I'm going to be introducing you to the amazing Christian rap rock band Saving Jackie. Until next time, take care of yourselves. Goodbye.